Rightio. On loose lines, Daniel Hibbert is out. Cameron Bray is in. Hello, Cam Bray.
Do we talk about the negotiation of the pay deal now, or do we just wait till the end?
Oh, you can do it whenever you want because the end result is still 0. It's all good. It is all good. Where do we find you, mate?
You find me at the Karaka Selling Complex tonight.
We will give that a bit of a plug a couple of times, but looking forward to going across there for the Weanling sales. And at the Weanling sales, we'll be able to stay at the newly built motel complex. I saw it 12 months ago.
It's a hotel, not a motel. It's just over.
It's a hotel. We can't see it. The lights in your shiny noggin. We can't see it on the way through.
Yeah,
mate.
it's just over the back there.
I got the wrong hat on. I should be having this one on. If James is watching this, he'll like to see the right hat on. That's for sure. But it's been up and going for a couple of weeks, months.
No, a couple of weeks. Couple of weeks, I think. It's been going about a fortnight, I think. Yeah, by the sound of it. It's doing good by the sound of it. Yeah, big numbers through the restaurant and quite a few people staying on. It's good.
We'll give it a plug. 26th of May is the yearling sales. It's on a Thursday. Weanling sales, sorry. And it's on a Thursday. There's 117. Don't drop your pen. It's very noisy for everyone else here.
114, 15 weanlings. There's actually a supplementary catalogue open now, so if anyone in the world wants to freight a horse to Auckland and be sold at the Weanling sale, more than welcome to do that. It'll be open until a week prior to the sale starting. So, yeah.
Tim White is watching. I wonder if that's the same Timmy White from New Zealand. I'd say it is. So that's that.
Well, the great man, he's laid up at home. He had an operation on his back. Poor old Tim.
Well, that's him now watching, mate. So we give a shout out. Don't be scared to send in a message, Tim. We will accept all messages, and anyone that wants to get involved in the conversation, definitely. So you're there for the weanlings, inspecting weanlings. What's there? 117 weanlings going through the roughly.
Yeah, about 117. Yeah, I've just spent a day today out at Woodland Stud and did a few at Alabar this morning. So going back to Alabar in the morning to do the rest of them, and I would have seen probably 90% of the weanlings. Just in the first round, and then in the car down to Hamilton tomorrow night, or Cambridge, sorry. Tomorrow, sorry. Yeah, tomorrow night for the race.
You'll be there for the race. Now, we'll give it a pump up. We'll stay straight on with the Kiwis while we're going. We've got quite a few. Kelly Louise, who's the top pick? I would say Kelly's asking about the weanling sale. So who's your top pick of what you've seen so far? We won't do that to him, Kel. He's quite comfortable that I've said we won't do that.
Hey, this is not my first rodeo. I love them all. I like them all. It is. And my challenge is you prove me wrong. You prove me that you like one better than I do.
The beauty of the weanling sale is in New Zealand. It's very, very well accepted. In Australia, it's a bit of a different cat, if you like. People, I suppose, aren't used to it, and aren't. Even in the thoroughbreds, there's not a keen as they are in New Zealand. A lot of Australian thoroughbred blokes will still go to New Zealand just to buy the pinhookers, won't they?
Yeah, and we actually get a lot of Kiwi thoroughbred guys go to Australia, buy your weanlings, bring them back, and then we sell them back to you at yearlings.
It works both ways, and you can do that with the pinhooking. It's a good way to get a horse cheap. I spoke with Mark Hughes today. The interview hasn't gone up; it'll go up later on. But one of the things I did, we said there before, was copy that was bought for $7,500. My hard copy, I think, was bought for $4,000. They're kept as racehorses. Plenty of other people have gone there, bought horses, and pinhooked them, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've had quite a number of people do that. Party On was bought as a weanling. Like there's been a Majestioso was a weanling out of the all age. Well, there was in those days an all age sale. So like there's plenty of horses coming out of this sale.
Majestioso, Andy Gapp's horse.
Yeah,
right.
Was.
That's pretty cool. That I didn't. There's one people should be sort of trumpeting as well.
That's prior to obviously NZB getting involved in the business. But yeah, no, it definitely was sold through there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually cool. But it also promises to be just a really, really big week because basically we're going to be there from Tuesday. You've got a live parade on the Wednesday, and then it also runs into the Auckland Cup the next night and Rowe Cup. It's a huge night on the Friday night. So we encourage Australians, I suppose, and Southern Islanders to make the way across to Karaka, stay at the motel, have a great. I reckon it'd be good. I'm looking forward. It's going to be a great experience being around so many harness people, staying at the one complex, a little bit like what Warwick Farm was just recently for Nutrien. And everyone's there together, and you just talk shop in a very, very different way.
Yeah, no, well, you're bringing a group of like-minded people together, and this is why we probably pinned this weanling sale close to the races, because we felt that we would get a few Australians with the border being open, so why not give them a 2 or 3 day experience, or longer even, to come out to New Zealand. You can come to a horse sale, you can come to the open day, a horse sale, you can go to one of the, arguably probably the second biggest night in harness racing in New Zealand, and then you can either go home, you can go skiing, you can do whatever you want to do.
Skiing in May.
You will do down south, yeah. Queenstown.
You said
you
said you'll take me down south. I'm not keen on going that far down. That's okay. I'm happy with that. That's so be all good. Timmy White, it's Yep. You spell Yep, not Yip. Y-E-P.
He's a great man, Tim White. Poor bugger. He's laid up. Poor wife looking after the poor invalid.
He'll be at the sale. I can see him throwing a rock at you very.
He's coming up. He's coming. He's fired up.
And Kelly Louise was. She laughed at your comment. She thought that was pretty cheeky. So yeah. So
a lot of people laugh. A lot of people laugh at me.
I don't doubt it. The race is on. You need to put a hat on that head too. Just saying, mate, you're a bit follically tested. You know, you get paid to wear these things. It's one of the joys of it. The race is on. Slot race tomorrow night. Sorry, yeah, no, it is tomorrow night. It is tomorrow night. What time did I say, Cam? I haven't actually. Oh, I have got that up.
8:55 here in New Zealand. So if my maths is correct, it's somewhere in and around 6:55 your time.
Yeah, are you going to do what the Peter Volandi's thoroughbreds are doing now and run it, 15 minutes late like you used to with the Miracle Mile? Everyone's saying, where does this come from? I'm like, you don't do a lot of back history. That's another story. Sorry, we'll stay with the race for a minute. We'll get onto that other stuff in a sec. But good race, a lot of intrigue, and it's great to have some Australians over there, albeit only doing a hit and run mission.
Yeah, probably when they, like, this was a concept that came up a while ago, and you got to take credit where credit's due. The Waikato Bay of Plenty Harness Racing Club and Cambridge Raceway, David Branch and his team picked it up and have run with it. It's a $900,000 slot race that takes no industry funding in New Zealand. They've managed to get EMEA. They've managed to get some Australian interest. Well, they actually had two MEAs originally.
Yeah.
Some Australian interest. And they've also had the drama of, Spellbound getting injured, and then the drama of who do they select? Do they get Majestic Cruiser? Do they take Cranbourne, who's a horse over here in open class ranks who sort of jumped out of the ground a wee bit? There's a vote. The vote's real close. They went with Majestic Cruiser. You've got Pembroke's Playboy, who only scratched out start of the week. So, look, there's about as much drama in this race as there is in Paul Campbell's life. It's unbelievable.
You're a clown. It is very interesting. And the one thing, we might have been talking about this a little bit earlier on, but one thing I never said to you, like the slot holders, like West, the syndicate that had Spellbound, they're not necessarily high flyers. Like, this is the thing about it, that you can buy slots and you don't have to be, one of the richest people in New Zealand to be part of it.
No, well, it's a syndicate of guys that have got together, and I think Barrett Holmes is another one that's got a number of people involved. The Aaron Bain, is it? Summit Bloodstock, Trevor Casey group. There's a number in that. It's really good. And I think by the sound of it, they're down there tonight having a bit of a cocktail party. Would have been a great thing to be a part of that itself, just being with the slot holders.
Didn't get an invite?
I think I must have lost in the mail or something, you know what I mean? I couldn't go anyway, I had this, obviously. Higher paying gig.
You're a clown. We did a pre-record. Anyone wants to know, we actually did a pre-record, and then he turns around and says that he's not at home, and so we're like, oh, we can do it. We can do more with you, but just the time difference makes it a bit tricky, but especially when you've got a young family, but it worked out pretty good. But so then that's good that they're making it 2 or 3 days of it. I suppose the Friday makes it a little bit tricky being Good Friday, but I would imagine there'd still be people kicking back and enjoying the win and enjoying the night, I suppose, afterwards as well.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No, definitely. I know there's a lot of people who've travelled to come to this. It's our richest race here in New Zealand. Everyone wants to see it be a success, and I think we can all see the merit in it, and the fact that if it does go well, it's just going to get better and better and better. And that can't be bad for harness racing. Can't be bad for harness racing in Australasia. No. We've got buy-in from Australia. We've got, which under a very rare circumstance would you get there was still only 3 3 Australian horses over here for it, which is great because we don't often see Aussie horses come back for races like this. So it's fantastic.
Mac Dan, is he an Aussie or a Kiwi?
Well, he was an Aussie. Is he a Kiwi now?
And then you got Stylish Memphis, the same
Stylish
thing.
Memphis, was she actually an Aussie?
We'll just...
Ultra Orlando, is he really an Aussie? You know, that all aside, they've been trained and raced recently in Australia, and it's great for the connections and owners of those horses and the slot holders to do that because it's added intrigue, which is great. You know, it's added something we don't see here very often, gate speed horses. Like there was a market open for all of about 10 minutes today with who would be the first past the winning post the first time around Cambridge. So obviously they go around twice, past the winning post twice. I think Ultra Orlando was even money for 5 seconds before they knocked it off. You know, so it's all different stuff here in New Zealand. We don't see a lot of this, so it's good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of intrigue, and like Ladbrokes have got behind it. They purchased Krug straight away. So
you can see that over here, obviously with the laws of racing bits and pieces. Here they're just called the Aussie lads here in New Zealand. So a lot of people in New Zealand won't know that because of it's just to do with laws over here that the betting agencies can't advertise in New Zealand. So that's why people won't know that. But it is Ladbrokes, Dan Shannon and his team.
So that'll be something for people going forward in future. I would imagine some other Australian betting agencies will say, well, hang on, this is a good way of us getting a cheeky foot in the door because people would look up what do you call it, the lads?
I think they're called the Aussie lads, I think is what they're called here in New Zealand.
So people will go and Google, what are the Aussie lads? And they'll come up with Ladbrokes and they'll be like, well, I wonder if we can get an account, and away we go. So it's not bad. I'm not big on betting or all the rest. The other one I wanted to mention with you, Cam, was the sponsors of it and the name. I personally love the name. I'm happy to throw barbs at a few people on social media that are quick to criticise it, if you like, and say the race, but I think it's very clever. Everyone wants to win the race. I mean, I don't think it's you don't have to be a rocket scientist to come up with it. There's a lot of people banding around about the Everest and it's big and all the rest, but it's a rock. You know, basically people can go up it and they can snow ski down it if they want to, Cam. But I think the race actually is exactly what it is. It's the race. It's the one race you'd want to win.
Well, two things. How you think of all the races we run in harness racing or thoroughbred racing and greyhound racing, how many of them are called the race?
I know. Yeah.
So when you talk about is a piss poor name or whatever, it's marketing gold really because it's simple. It is the race, and it's brought to you by Grins, the sponsor. So,
and they're
knock it all you like. It's off the ground. It's running. A lot of people said no.
Yep.
Amazingly, people were saying a week before it was announced it's 100 to 1 to get off the ground, and next thing you know, the biggest promoters of it the following week. So, in harness racing, we can be very negative, and we can look for negatives in everything. And at the end of the day, they've got this off the ground. It's cost neutral. It's beneficial for harness racing in Australasia. What more do you want?
Yeah. And there's banded around at the minute over here that there's going to be this.
And we haven't had to tax.
Is that the word? Is that how you say? I wasn't sure how you were going to get it out there, Cam. But that's what I'm saying. Around here, it's been bandied around that we're going to have a $2 million slot race simply because by the time the Australian one, if it ever gets off the ground, this race it'll be $1 million next year. You got no doubt you'll get more backers want to get behind it, and it'll go to that magic $1 million. So Australia, but they're going to, as you just mentioned that word, they're going to rob the rich to pay the rich. I think is how they're selling it. But effectively, it's a little bit flawed. This one is a self-funding race series that will stand the test of time. Even if the race itself's a failure this year, it'll still be there next year because people are committed to 3 years, and it'll only grow and get bigger and bigger.
Well, we've had a number of conversations. We have a number of conversations in general, but we've had a number of conversations about what you've just talked about in relation to the levy or tax, or whatever you want to call it. And this race here obviously has been funded by the slot holders in conjunction with the club, who have gone out and done additional sponsorship. They managed to get some funds. Now you have to realise in New Zealand we don't get any local government support in any racing. And they managed to get some local council support, which is fantastic for them, unbelievable. Mate, that's where these races have to be cost neutral because you are funding a very, very small pool of people. Yes, it's great, and I think it is a very successful thing. It's proven that in thoroughbred racing and also greyhound racing with their slot race they had over there. It's a great concept, but it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. The people who own the slots put up the money. Worst case scenario, hey, they do lose, but they don't lose at all. If you're in the position to be able to do that, it's very intriguing because the deals, the structure, like I've heard of some of the agreements that have done, one owner of a horse who had it racing in Australia said, I couldn't say no to the deal.
Yep.
So there you go.
And that's the intrigue. And then, as you say, we joke about it, but there's four horses that had been racing in Australia, effectively 5, that have made their way over to New Zealand, which gets the intrigue. And as we said off air or in one of our other conversations, the trick is now, how does New Zealand harness racing capture those horses for a fortnight? And that'll be
exactly, yeah. Well, the same guy who said the deal, I couldn't turn it down. The horse was here for 6 days.
Yeah, you've got to be able to keep them there for 2 races and really make something of it in that sense. And the
other intrigue here, which we don't see often in New Zealand, is Australian drivers. 3 Australian drivers here.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll tell you too, there's some big money on offer. Like Wagga's got a big race card on the weekend. There's, that's how good it is. So, and they're a couple of young, up and coming, young upstarts. I suppose is the best way to. They're really good blokes, all 3 of them. There's no hassles there, but they're young guys, fresh faced. They don't grow stubble, Cam, because it looks like bum fluff. So they're very clean cut young men, but they do a great job, I must say.
And what an opportunity for those 3 guys in particular when you've got a guy like John Dunn who's sitting in the stands.
Yep. And also just to be able to drive against Mark Purdon and the likes in that.
Well, you look through those names, there's, groggy.
And we must give a big shout out to the guy, to South Coast Arden as well, because if we don't, Johnny will be all over us. But good luck to John Stuyven and the Southern Bred. Everyone that's involved down there. I know Johnny kept this horse himself. Arden Lodge kept it himself. But, good luck to him. I'm sure he'll be very nervous and he'll make his way there, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, I hope so, yeah. Carries that great Arden name, for the company itself. We sold both Krug and Hot and Treacherous. So, there's so many different angles, It's just so many different positives for this. It's great.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really, really good. And it's got people talking. One that you did highlight to me, Ken, before we get off the New Zealand racing is actually race number 3, number 1, The Business, very cleverly spelt, BIZZNESS. But just the owners in it, I better do the right thing, Cam, bedn't I? I better put the other hat back on, the NZB hat, before I say the first 2. But from NZB's point of view, you've got Andrew Seabrook and Sir Peter Valla involved in the ownership. Then the next 3 owners are really key. It's really good promotion, I think, for harness racing. Full stop.
Well, yeah, you've got probably one of the best. Well, Andrew Seabrook, who obviously is the managing director of New Zealand Bloodstock. Sir Peter Valla, who's the owner of New Zealand Bloodstock.
I don't have a shirt. Just so they know, I don't have a shirt. Otherwise, I'd have it on. I'm only saying that.
No, that's the way we like it. Niaka Stud Limited is one of the biggest wine exporters in New Zealand. Who's a big thoroughbred owner. Daniel Narclay's the same, very big thoroughbred owner. JB McDonald's a young fella here who a lot of people will know. He goes okay, a bit of a jockey in metropolitan Sydney.
Yeah.
James McDonald, who rode a lot for Sir Peter Valla. And the colours in particular, a lot of people in Australia will recognise with some of the greatest, thoroughbred stars of the turf.
Yep. It's an ethereal. So they're the
ethereal. Romilly Conti. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. So it's
another pink arrow stud colours.
Yep. So that's at 2 minutes past 7. So just after 5 o'clock. It'll be interesting just to see how that horse goes, and it's by Sweet Loose. So look after the Woodlands brand. So you're doing pretty good actually. We're doing okay with my sponsors here, mate. I must say. So Ben Stud Standardbreds, I noticed they're on too. So we've got plenty of people on. Don't be scared to fire a question in, whether it's to myself or to Cameron, or it's about anything in general. That's the way this show goes. I would like to promote. I've got a few clubs and things coming up to promote and get the message out there. And I think that's probably what we do, Cam. We have a serious conversation, but sometimes it's a little bit lighthearted. Mate, we skipped over the sponsors very quickly of the race, the Grins. They are All Blacks, you actually said there before.
Ex-All Blacks, yeah. Now, you've got me Johnny on the spot here, and I've got myself all out of sync here.
That happens on this show, don't worry.
Yeah, the two ex All Blacks, they sort of make alcoholic drinks, vodka and soda and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, not much good to me or you, Paul. But no, they're the sponsors. And to be fair, the race by Grins, like it's been great for them because it's the race. It's called the race. Everyone's going to know about it, and the brand, it just works well. I think it's fantastic, really. I was going to try and give you the names of the two.
You can't get them, can you?
No, I can't really remember now, and it's going to piss me
I
off.
I know a couple of All Blacks too, just quietly. So
anyway, you talk among yourselves. I'll find out.
I do that. I do that quite regularly, mate. It's not easy to do, is it? When you're trying to keep talking and try to go from there. So.
Because one of them's Beaver is his nickname. He was, I don't know if you remember, Dan Carter, who you possibly know. Dan Carter got injured leading up to the World Cup final, I think it was. And Beaver, who I will give you his real name shortly. Still haven't found.
If you're having a sunny session around a barbecue, I can give you that much, mate. Don't you worry about that. Are you over the age?
Give you the shits that.
I tell you, they've got a good website. You've got to say that you're over the age of 18 to get on it. So all you do is tick yes, and it lets you in. I love those ones. It's sort of.
We're trusting people here in New Zealand.
Their moral compass worked out really, really good. It doesn't have the owners. 3 mates is what it is. There you are. I just lost it. Big plans. Anton Brown, Damien McKenzie, and Stephen McDonald. Who is
Stephen McDonald?
No, Stephen Donald. Stephen
Donald. That's Beaver.
Yep.
So I think we lost 2 first fives at World Cup final, and he was whitebaiting down the Waikato River. Who got the call up to come and play in the final?
Whitebaiting being fishing.
Yeah. You wait till you come over here in New Zealand. I'll show you what it is.
Right. So they're just 3 blokes: Beaver, mullet, and a bit of a swag. They all just have a bit of fun.
Yeah, 3 ex All Blacks. So there you go.
They've had their good run on Campbell's comments, that's for sure. So don't be scared, as I said.
Reach out, you might get some sponsorship.
To throw in, it'd be good. Unless they make non-alcoholic, it's going to look a bit funny, me saying how good the drink is.
Well, actually, you talk about the fella, Stephen Donald, he is tied up with SEN, who own the slot that Self Assured's involved in too. So he's on their drive show or whatever it is.
Yep. They're getting...
So I know.
They're getting very active, SEN. They've just bought the Bendigo Lady Braves, one of the most successful ladies basketball team here in Victoria and Australia. And SEN have just bought the sponsorship rights to them, committed to 10 years. So bit of big news for Bendigo and that. So, yeah, they're really starting to make some waves in the radio world. If you can do that, I don't think the radio world is exactly low flying with the advent of Spotify's and podcasts and things along those lines. Makes it a little bit tricky, but anyway, as best they can, they are making waves, that's for sure. Mildura racing tonight. Just having a quick look through some of the winners. Jack Law and Julie Douglas have got 2 winners, I think I saw. No, might have made that up. I did too. Alex Ashwood, he won the first, but not with a New Zealander. So, yeah, interesting meeting. They've got their Mildura Cup Carnival next week. You ever been to that, Cam? You ever put that on your radar at all, the Mildura Cup Carnival?
No, I haven't been, but I tell you, it's something that I probably would go to, true Mildura style and all.
Oh, I hate that, personally. I absolutely hate that part of it.
You don't like that?
Well, it makes out they're cowboys, because true Mildura style means they come out of the gate hard and they drive really hard. Well, they're not all cowboys up there. There's some really good horsemen that go up there, and they're really knowledgeable people. And I don't think there's anything such thing as true Mildura style other than good aggressive racing.
Well, I will give you that. It is good. It is good, and you get some value for money if you're having a play at Mildura, because there's a lot of excitement, isn't there?
Yeah, and I can tell you, if any New Zealand people or anyone from interstate ever actually goes to Mildura, go to the float car park, which you can just walk into. There's no problems there because very limited space, and sit on one of the bonnets of the cars. Is there they release them from the short distance at the top of the home straight, and see if you stay seated on the bonnet of the car when they're coming straight at you, because it don't look like they're going to make the bend. It is as tight as you want to see a racetrack, and it's quite a unique experience. You can hear the crashing and the bashing as they're going around because you are right on the track. There's no second fences or nothing. It's it's pretty amazing to watch.
That's cool. That's cool.
It really is. It's a different. Tim White, did you tell him to send that in? Did you? Where's my cowboy hat? It's actually here, Tim. Don't you worry about that. It's here. It's out of arm's reach though. So I'm actually going away, Tim. It'll be on all next week on Campbell's Comments. I'm going up to Springshaw for a camp draft. So I'll be doing a few things up there. Might even do a live cross. You never know who I'll be doing it with. Daniel Hibbard, he's flat out doing greyhound racing. So Cam, you might get the cowboy call up too, mate.
Yeah, I tell you what, Tim White down there in Winton, he's in the deep dark depths of South, and I tell you what, cowboy hat is about all they wear down there, some of those fellas.
I don't want to go.
Tell me all like that.
I don't want to go there. We're keeping this G-rated. There's no worries there. Next, you'll start hanging on poor old Martin Pearson and those shirts that he's been wearing. I can't believe you keep giving him a hard time about those.
No, Marty's a good man. Don't knock Marty. He's doing a bloody sensational job there.
He is indeed. Mark Hughes, he knew Andrew Grierson was coming to the nutrient sale. He did not wear one of those floral numbers that he wore in Sydney. He was in green all day, every day. So he towed the party line. It was good to see. So, yeah, a bit of fun.
Got to catch up with Dr. Andrew Grierson this afternoon, actually. He's in good humour. Yeah, it's good.
I think he enjoyed his stay in Australia. I think he was, saw a different
different
sale.
Happy,
They had a successful sale too. Like I think they got 80,000. They were expecting 60, or they wanted 60. I shouldn't say expecting, but they wanted 60. So good result, and won't be the last time they're involved. And from the hat that I've got on, I suppose I can change it again. But both hats. But I think the way the industry grows, Cam, yourself and I.
You better put some Vaseline on, otherwise you'll end up like grazing that noodle, won't you?
I do that occasionally. It's no good. Martin Pearson also says the same thing. We've got to make the world a bit smaller, so we've got to be able to embrace. So to have sales working on both sides of the ditch is what we want. You got your weanling sale. We want the Aussies to come out, pinhook some horses, take them back to Australia, but also leave some here and put them back through your sale a bit later on as well.
Well, the world's a small place now. I think I quoted the other day for someone with a bit of air freight. It was about $5,800 to Sydney. So, you know what I mean? And just the inquiry alone off the back of your Australian yearling sales, where I think your average rose to early 30s in Sydney and 37 or 38,000 in Melbourne. Off the back of that, we've had phone calls about our weanling sales. So, you don't quite have the opportunity. I know you have your online sales over there, but you don't quite have the opportunity to put 115 or 20 weanlings together in one place to bid at auction sales. So, if they can do that and they can buy them and take them home and make money, everyone's making money. It's good for the industry. We are breeding too many weanlings probably for our own domestic market to absorb. So it's great, and if those genetics can go back to Australia and do a job and make some money for a vendor at a nutrient or, the other operation over there, if they can make
APG, I'm not scared to say
APG,
they actually can't.
Bathurst.
Well, APG can't sell them because they have to have an Australian brand.
Bathurst, so that's what happened last time. Bathurst, they go to Bathurst sale or wherever. It's good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And whoever can prove to me why it isn't, good luck to you.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. I know that, as I said, I've done a thing with Mark Hughes, and I won't be putting it up today. I was meant to, but I just got a little bit waylaid. It'll go up tomorrow. I think he said there's 7 weanlings in their draft of 70. Am I right on the 70, Cam? I think so. Yes.
It's about that. Yeah. 70, 71. Yeah. So that'll be.
There's 7 of them that are Vic bred eligible. So that's a kicker. So they're not only New Zealand.
So that'll be Leather Up and American Ideal.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. So there's a fair kicker there for people that want to go over and pinhook one. They're also New Zealand Sire Stakes eligible. So even once you pinhook it, as I said, you can still leave it in New Zealand and send it through NZB sale, or you can bring it home. It's one of those ones, depending, I suppose, on the family. It opens up a lot of ideas and doors.
They're born here in New Zealand, so you could make them New Zealand Sire Stakes eligible right through from now on, and they're born here in New Zealand, so they're eligible for all those. Same with the Nevelier and Caduceus and all those other ones here in New Zealand. So if you are looking to pinhook, because the horse is bred here, New Zealand sire stakes will follow up with you, so you can make the horse eligible right through. And much the same as it is for your Australian futurities. All those mares would normally be, until they changed it, Breeders' Crown eligible. So now that's a yearling nomination, so you're more than welcome to do that. So that's fine. So, it's a small world we play in now. You can buy them as a weanling, or you can buy them as a tried racehorse. They still end up over there.
Yep.
In a lot of respects.
Yeah, no, that's right, and it's good for both countries. This is the one thing that myself and you bang on about, Martin Pearson, quite a few of us. It's actually very good for both countries, for people to buy in New Zealand and bring them back to Australia, but also buy in New Zealand and keep them in New Zealand as well. It's a win-win for everyone going around.
Exactly, and the same thing goes for a number of our probably larger scale clients, much like Woodland Stud have done with their mare over there, and put it back through the Nutrien equine sales. But I know there's a number of race mares currently racing in Victoria under New Zealand ownership that will probably be bred in Victoria, and they will then turn around and make that decision at the time whether they bring her home to New Zealand or put her back through Nutrien sale. But we don't have a very strong 4-year-old and older mares racing. And with your futurities and bonuses attached to a lot of your Vicbred and all those associations, I can see more and more of it happening, where race mares will go to Victoria, race, and will be bred over there and be sold over there, or they'll be bred, for argument's sake, foaled, bred, then brought home to New Zealand. Giving them those foals in so much more of an opportunity going forward.
Bit of fun. It's a good business sense for everyone, and the fact is, if the Kiwis make more money, they come back, they reinvest it back through your sale anyway, and it's a flow-on effect. So it is a win-win for a lot of people. Pacing for Pink, Cameron, you won't know a lot about Pacing for Pink, but it is on Mother's Day. So for any of the New Zealand guys that are watching, basically for the month of May, drivers ask sponsors to sponsor their pants. It's $400 to sponsor their pants for new ones, $200 to renew them. Drivers will wear pink pants for that whole month. So all money's raised goes to the McGrath Foundation, which is Glenn McGrath over here, who you guys would know as a great fast bowler, lost his wife to breast cancer, and basically all money raised goes to the nurses that look after the women. What it is at home. So Marg Watson and Donna Gaskin have done a great job in getting this off the ground. Daniel Hibbard, good mate of ours, has been involved in it in early inception at Cobram. It's got too big for Cobram now. It's at Shep. I think it might get too big for Shep. I think they might have to build a purpose-built track for everything that they have got going on, but it's just a huge thing, and it's coming up on the 8th of May. Drivers have to have been notified by now, the 31st of March. You had to get in touch with Marg Watson, but Marg's number is 0409 401 189. Any sponsors or anyone out there that would like to get involved in this day, and it is Mother's Day, the 8th of May. It's going to be a huge race day, but sponsors, people with raffles, anyone, please get in touch with Marg and get everything sorted out that way as well. So, sorry, Cam, I just did something silly with my phone. But yeah, please get involved in it. It's going to be a ripping day at Shep. Pretty much all I do all day is draw people's names out of a raffle barrel. Donna rang me the other day and she wants more raffle prizes, and I said, how many more? And I don't want to know, because I reckon they'll have heaps, but it's just a lot of fun.
And for a lot of people in New Zealand, we follow a lot of the social media. I followed a lot of it last year, and by Jesus Christ, it's great to see what you guys do when you get in behind some of those causes. It's fantastic. I've seen it from a distance. I think I might have even told you, which you obviously forgot about. But it's great. A bit like the Team Teal. So it's gone on here in New Zealand, Blue September. It's great that as a community, we're a tight-knit community in harness racing, get behind something like that and be so generous and so supporting. It's fantastic.
Blue September, that's one that you guys do that we don't do yet, but that's for men's, for prostate cancer. We do a little bit of it. But one of the kickers you guys did last year was the all men's race, which is it's a novelty, but it just showcases what it's about. But restricted to the male drivers, which is really funny in this day and age. How the tide has turned, it's terrific.
Well, and everyone, it's a bit like Team Teal, which is a great one, but the pacing for pink. You know, how many people do you know that have either suffered from or have been through something like that? You know, it's a bit like Blue September, which is very close to my home, obviously, with my father who's just going through it. My father-in-law who's got it. You know, one of our directors of NZB has had it. You know, no one's immune to it. Doesn't matter what class or what you do for a vocation or anything. And I think it's great that we can get behind these causes and support them.
No, totally agree. Rightio, going to throw you under the bus. Actually, Jared Maloney. Congratulations, Jared Maloney, on turning. I don't know how old he would be, Jared Maloney. We could have a competition to see how old Jared is, but it's his birthday today, so I will say a big happy birthday to Jared. He's a regular contributor to the show. Did you say careful or Google?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to guess, he mightn't be a regular follower of the show. If you upset him.
No, he'll be fine. Good mate of mine, Troy Harley, with over here. Do you guys have the Good Friday? Do you have an appeal over there or money fundraisers at all in New Zealand?
I'd say no, but I'll probably get proven wrong. But
no,
not that widely accepted here, no.
Here in Australia, on Fridays they have the Good Friday appeal, and basically it goes from morning to dusk, and they raise money. It's been going ever since I was a kid. I can remember when it was black and white.
That long?
Yeah, it was black and white, and people used to ring up and they'd be on the phone and they'd just ad hoc go and get someone off the phone. Still the same. It just keeps getting
like a telethon type scenario?
Yeah, and raise money for the Royal Children's Hospital, which does such a great cause. Cool. So, good mate of mine, Troy Harley, his daughter's going to feature in it. They've done some great things for him over the years. And
we've done the other thing. We've done the other thing with Troy. Yeah, cool.
So one of his daughters is in that. So I'd keep your eyes out on that, and pretty proud to do that. I just went to invite someone on camera on my phone by mistake. So Fred Spiteri, good to see you, Freddie. Training plenty of winners. Don't need you on the show, mate. So that's all good. But that's a way that pacing for pink Wagga Cup. I'm going to actually throw, when you and I finish, I've got a interview with Greg Gangle. Greg Gangle's a great mate of mine, but Wagga are doing some great things. They've got a huge card coming up on the weekend. They've got 2 Group 1s, $100,000 Group 1s. But one of the kickers about one of those races, as you and I will both say, is a mare's Group 1 4 and 5 year old. I'm going to double check all that as I go, but it's great that they do those sorts of races in the Riverina, but they've got a pretty good metropolitan field assembled. But yeah, it is for 4 and 5 year old mares, Group 1 final, and it looks like it's open slower. There's a 51 rater being the second emergency, right through to 113 rater in Antonia, who has she's got a New Zealand combination. But it's just great that there is these opportunities for more and more group racing. And
talk about pinhooking, bring it back. Well done, great segue. You bring it back to pinhooking. Louise Torman pinhooked the horse, the family of Antonia.
Yep, from Woodlands, and the brother of that was the first lot sold this year at the NZB sale. That's how bad I am at sales. So it was the first. It was actually the first one through.
You need to get some hobbies.
I do. I do.
Take up the knitting and pottery you were talking about. You were going to do.
It's all good. And then they've got the Riverina Championships for the boys, 4 and 5 year olds as well. And that's got a ripping field of horses in it. Not an NZ name, not one horse there with an NZ next to its name. I wonder if it's restricted to Australian bred horses. Don't know the finer details of that, but yeah.
Isn't it good though, a number of our sort of Group 1, and it was just different here in New Zealand, obviously, but we don't have a lot of 4-year-old, it's open class generally. And same with the mares. Isn't it great for mares to get a wee bit of black type or Group 1? Would you say Group 1?
Yep.
Group 1, yeah, good. So it's good. That's good for a different sort of mare, probably not a metro mare, some of them. So that's good, isn't it?
Interesting. Jack Callaghan is driving at the meeting. He's got a couple of drives too, and so is Cameron Hart. So they're obviously not hanging around too, unfortunately, for the New Zealand guys, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, so they're going to be in Wagga. That's a fair effort. Cambridge to Wagga in 2 days. So yeah, in the middle there.
Well, what's Wagga? How far to Wagga from Sydney?
5 hours.
Well, they'll catch a plane, won't they? Is there planes go there?
Don't know. I don't know.
There'll be an airport, won't there? Surely to Christ. But it's only 3 hours from here to bloody you.
Yep. And on the same night, they've got their Wagga.
And we're allowed to do it now. We're allowed to go both ways now without any drama.
Yep.
Is it today in New Zealand?
And they've also got their Wagga Gold Cup on as well. So it's a really, really deep meeting, and it's a great meeting. So it's
Good.
really, really good for them. So they got a horse like Max Delight, who's not going around in a Group 1 on the race meeting. Yeah, like, so that's really, really cool. So, yeah, which I think's well done. He's doing some good things. He was telling me, I think he said he had 2,500 people at the race meeting there on a Friday a couple of weeks ago for a bloody dash hound race. So they come from everywhere. So I had a race meeting, and then I had the Duckshounds on at the same time. So yeah, dash hound or Duckshound? Which way do you go?
Dash hound. They're the wee sausage dogs, aren't they?
Yeah, those
Is that
little
what they are?
yeah, the little things.
Geez, wouldn't that be a bloody hard case to watch?
Oh, they yap. They just do nothing but
Eh?
yap.
Oh, he's a bit like you.
Yeah.
Short legs, long body, and yap.
Fair bit in that. There is also the Tasmanian Harness Racing Club, or Tasmania Racing, actually have a great race meeting with the Launceston on the Saturday night. The Launceston Ladbrokes Easter Cup, or what is it? The Aussie Lads Easter Cup, and there's quite a few. Mick Stanley and Emma Stewart have made the trip over there. So I noticed there's a little bit of banter going around on social media. There's how many winners Emma Stewart might be able to train for the night. They've locked in 8. About 4 people have said they'll get 8 winners for the night on a 10-race program.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll
I'll
be
smiling.
Well, they will be. I'm not sure about a lot
I don't know
of.
about anyone else.
It'll be interesting. Some of the drivers, unbelievable. Like, so 10:45, Mark Pitt's driving there, and I know he's down to drive at Warragul for their cup on Sunday as well. It's just amazing some of the Ks some of these drivers do, don't they? So that's on the Saturday night. Sunday afternoon, he's going to be at Wagga.
Well, in that case, they'll do nautical miles, won't they?
Yeah, they'll fly. They'll definitely fly. They won't be boating. He'll be flying. They might parachute him out. They might drop him out over the side. So yeah, yeah, some interesting.
Does highlight though that clearly there's a lack of or the opportunities for drivers is immense, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely it is indeed. There's a good little 2-year-old on. There's some really interesting little runners in there, but. Cheeky Eagle yet to win a race, but out of 3 Eagles, beautifully bred horse, bred by Ben Stud, but unfortunately for them, yet to win a race. But there's some nicely bred horses there as well, and they were asking if there was a market Ben Yole versus Emma Stewart. There's one race where Ben Yole has the field except for one runner, so they're asking, but yeah, no one was happy to take that one on, so good luck to them. Actually noticed a young bloke, Connor Crook, who I did a little bit with when he was here in Victoria for Ben Yole a couple of years ago. He actually won their prestigious award over the weekend, and they said he made last weekend, the Hellwares they call it, and he made a very moving speech. He was actually gobsmacked that Ben Yole didn't win it, because Ben Yole last year won the Tassie trainers record, but also the Australian one, something that hasn't been done. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, he was a leading trainer in Australia last season. So yeah, so people knock him. Ben Yole, he has a lot of horses go around and all the rest. Have a look at the young blokes that are driving, young people that are driving. I reckon he does a great job for the sport. He has kids on him. Most of the time they keep their drive, so they don't. He doesn't put the best drivers on the best horses, or vice versa. They keep their drives. Obviously, if the horses that they've been driving, he'll have to sort that part out. But yeah, it does a good job, Ben Yole, I think, for the industry, and gets plenty of people to the tracks and all the rest. Whether having a full field of Ben Yole runners is a good thing or not, I don't know about that part. But other than that, I reckon he's doing a great job.
Well, it does highlight probably that he's upholding his end of the bargain. Just need some others to nominate horse. At the end of the day, he's got to nominate for a race meeting, isn't he?
Yep, and
he's got the horses going.
I will say the other thing that he is doing, and it is really, really good, is they purchase lots of horses. They buy a lot of horses, so it keeps that dollar turning, keeps that wheel turning, which you and I keep banging on about. That's what you've got to be able to do. So they'll purchase horses. They're very easy to.
I see he bought racehorses. He bought yearlings, doesn't he? He buys yearlings. He buys racehorses.
I don't know if he bought it in Nutrien the other day, but he definitely came over to Melbourne and bought at the APG sale. And then at the Tassie sale that I did, he bought there too. So yeah.
You were a bid spotter, weren't you?
Mate, I was Jack of all. Don't you worry about me. They gave me a microphone. No, they gave me a microphone. Silly move, wasn't it? So yeah.
I've heard all about that. Don't get too cozy in that position, I tell you. Fair go.
I actually did an auction too. What did I? I had to auction off some feed. So yeah. It was a long story. We won't go there. That's fine. Warrigal Cup is on Sunday too, mate, and you wouldn't have seen that. Unfortunately for the club, it's a small field. They were screaming for nominations. They've only got 6 horses. Always Fast, Demon Delight. There, Demon Delight, he's won his last 2 cups. One was Charlton, one was Echuca. So he's actually going terrific, and it will be almost a hometown cup, I believe, for the Hockhams too. So I think they come from nearby there too. So you're just looking that field up, aren't you? Yeah, trying to find it. But unfortunately, it's only a 6-horse field, Group 3, $35,000 race. But yeah, they struggled for noms. The trotting races are a little bit better. Well, the trot race actually is possibly a little bit the same on numbers, 8, but it'll be a competitive race with Kai Valley Finn off 20. Have Horse Will Travel for 8, Andy and Kate.
He's got the 50 metres.
Yeah, but the way he's going, he'll probably make light work of that. So, yeah,
Right.
Interesting little meeting as well for them going forward, mate. So that's sort of most of those ones. The other hat that I do wear, I can announce that Nutrien will be having their Winter Woolies online sale. It will be from the 3rd to the 6th of June as an online sale, the way they do it. Entries open on the 20th of April and close on the 6th of May. I did that little banner myself because the proper one that MYO will do will be with me next week. So we will get the proper banner out there and go from there. But as I just said then, very quickly, the 3rd to the 6th of June. Entries open 20th of April, which will be next week, and close on the 6th of May. So make sure you're across and aware of those. Cameron, did I miss anything from a New Zealand point of view for you, mate?
No, pretty good, mate. No, we're here. We're open for business now. Get on your plane, come to New Zealand, enjoy the place.
Stay at
Karaka.
Stay at the Hilton. It's Hilton, isn't it? Yes.
Doubletree by Hilton Karaka, I think is its official name. But
unfortunately, has the other tree left there as well? Because you lost one of your trees, didn't you? Because they're pretty significant.
There's a few trees. Yeah, we had a couple of insurance claims.
No, sorry, in the parade area though, like one of the because they were very famous.
Oh yeah. You got disease. You got some sort of disease. They pulled both of them out. Both of them are gone.
Unfortunate that part, yeah. Then at the yearling sales, anyone that doesn't know, at one stage
they were there since the 1980s, I reckon.
Yeah,
They
beautiful.
were there a long time.
But James Jennings, he went from his bid spotting spot that he stood up there so well at Karaka for a minute, and I didn't thought I'd put 2 and 2 together, but there was a bit of a catastrophe at the back with a big tree blowing over and taking out a bit of a stable complex, wasn't it?
Yeah, took out quite a chunk of Waikato stud, and there was another one took out of someone's poor car. Got the car got done over.
Oh, never any good that is. Go and buy a horse and say, geez, how am I going to break this to the wife? Or maybe I won't tell her, and you go there and the car.
Who would have thought it? You got to see if it was a thoroughbred sale, we would have had to stop. Yeah, thoroughbreds wouldn't have handled the wind and the dust and the bloody leaves and everything that was going on. We would have just had to stop. But like the old standardbreds, they just keep powering on.
Yeah, did indeed. All right, mate. I'm going to go. I'm going to throw to this interview with Greg Gengel. I appreciate you joining me and chatting. We've had a little bit of people coming in and out, but that's okay. I'm probably not.
Tim White still watching?
Well, he was. We could ask him. He could ask him to give us a thumb back if he was. But I don't.
The cowboy hat comment that would have bloody stirred some emotion, probably.
I can get the cowboy. Just give me 1 sec. You just keep talking for a minute. I'll go get the cowboy. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. You don't have to keep talking. I can do this. It'll be all good. You watch this.
What am I watching?
For every stage of your horse's career, find your edge with the Barristock Racing range of feeds.
So can they hear what I'm saying, or what's the story?
They can now because we're back. Because that was an ad. So now we're back. And if you actually watch it back, it actually worked pretty good, Cam. So yes, they could. I could have actually. I threw you under the bus. I could have actually silenced you. And then when I got over to the table where the hat was, I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't say anything. But no, we're all good now, Cam. We're back live and it is all good. And Timmy got the hat back on. So I expected a response. Hopefully you are still watching because I've gone and put it on purely for you, Tim. But yeah.
This will stir a wee bit of emotion to that poor bugger that he's still waiting for. He sent the invoice. He's still waiting for payment. The poor fella from Tamworth.
For the hat? But
Yeah.
he'll get it. No, I've got the cowboy back. Timmy's on. He's right. He saw it, so he's happy. You're right. He is laid up in bed with nothing to do, and he's bored out of his brain if he thinks you and I are funny. That's for sure. So he's in all sorts of trouble.
Well, Timmy.
He is indeed. All right, mate. I'm going to let you go, and yes, you will have to. You will have to. We'll just hang up. We'll talk at another time because yes, this video, the way I've set it up, you'll still be there. But as I said, I caught up with Greg Gangle for a bit of a wrap of what he's got coming up at the Wagga meeting. But Cam, thank you very much for joining me, mate. Really appreciate it.
No, thanks, guys. All the best.
Rightio, catching up now with Greg Gangle. Firstly, hello, Greg.
Hey, mate. How you going?
Very, very good. You got that hey mate going down well. We've had a few chats. We've had chats from sort of here, there, and everywhere, and I want to try and do a lot more with you. But you are actually, I suppose, the GM of the Riverina Paceway or Wagga Wagga Racetrack. It goes by a couple of names, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those things where we are Riverina Paceway, but we're operated under the Wagga Harness Racing Club. So our brand out to the public is obviously Riverina Paceway, but with our committee and based on our constitution, we operate under the Wagga Harness Racing Club.
Right. That explains a little bit of it then. So that makes perfect sense. Plenty going on. A lot of people know that you were from Canada, and I've been to Wagga a couple of times and going from there. You've how long have you been in the job? You haven't been in there 12 months. It's coming up.
No, it would be 12 months in September. So roughly, I would say 7-8 months we're at now.
And slowly finding your feet and adjusting. How are you finding the transition, I suppose, initially from wall-to-wall racing in America or Canada to once-a-week racing here in New South Wales?
Yeah, vastly different overall, Paul. I mean, it's been well documented that, this is a bit of a slower pace based on the number of race meetings, going from 220 race meetings with the Woodbine Entertainment Group, and then 125 race meetings at Western Fair down to 52. But that allowed me to work on different things like, your sponsorship, your membership, and your community involvement and focusing on your brand and things like that, where back home you would, put that onto somebody else. So I'm really allowed to really cut my teeth into, building up the club's profile, giving a lot of attention to our social media and those things that are very important. But overall, the transition's been very good. The first 3 or 4 months, I would say, was the learning curve. But now I'm knee deep and have a full understanding of where we're at and where we need to be and things like that. And not only just within the club, but also within the region as well, and fully understanding racing itself in Australia.
I'd never been to Wagga up until, I reckon, probably 5-6 months ago. My association with Nutrien, I suppose, led me to their huge harness racing area and very, very passionate harness racing people. No matter which part of the town you go to or who you speak to, they're extremely passionate group of people and they just love their industry, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do. One of the first things that I noticed when we moved here was everybody has a horse in their backyard. Whether it be a breeder or a trainer, it's quite funny. But to your point, there's a lot of participants in this region, even towards the Leeton Narrandera way, that support Riverina Paceway. So you're getting a major mix of trainers, drivers, but also breeders as well. And this is probably, other than maybe Bathurst, the first or second biggest hub of racing with breeding in the region.
Yep, it is, and it's huge. And I encourage, I say this about a lot of people, a lot of places I go to. I do encourage anyone that hasn't been to Wagga to go there. Go there this weekend because it is Cup weekend, so it's a good time to go there. I'd imagine there'd be plenty going on there in Easter. Would there in Wagga?
Yeah, it's a massive weekend. I was just on the phone with some media outlets earlier today, just promoting the championship racing. And the way that I describe it is, we have an opportunity to showcase racing in a form of excellence. We're celebrating championship racing, Group 1 in the Riverina and the entire region, for that matter. I think it's a phenomenal looking race meeting from top to bottom, especially when you're adding in the Wagga Cup along with the Oaks and other feature races. So it's not just so much of 1 or 2 significant group races. it's a very powerful undercard as well, and that's what we wanted to craft for this Saturday, where there's something going on from top to bottom, and then of course our on track entertainment. It's going to be a family atmosphere, kind of like what we had with the dog races there just a few weeks ago, where there's something for the kids, there's something for adults, and that just brings the entire family out, and that's what we're striving to do.
I was going to leave the dog races to last. We'll get on to the actual race card in a very quick minute. The Duckshounds or Dashhounds, depending on who you talk to. I know there'll be one person, if I don't call it Duckshounds, I'll be in trouble. Another person, Dashhounds. But were you blown away by because I know quite a lot of people. Keith Cochin and Shelley Cochin, they actually trained a Group 1 double, actually, I think last Saturday night. And those two horses would take second place to their Dashhounds at their place. They absolutely love them, don't they? Like a lot of industry participants have them, and they just love them.
Yeah, it was very overwhelming, to be quite honest. And for me, like on a personal level, was very gratifying. More of a confidence builder than anything to maybe try different things as well, because I do have a few other tricks up my sleeve, but this was a major confidence booster for me personally. And yeah, I was overwhelmed. It's hard not to be when you put anywhere between 2,000 and 2,500 people on course. Just the response from the media and the social media buzz. We reached over 100,000 people on our social media platforms promoting this event. So it just goes to show the power of Twitter and Facebook. And the biggest thing is it's a free outlet that I think a lot of clubs and a lot of organizations maybe don't use enough of. But that's a different story. But we didn't spend $1 in advertising. It was all social media. And that just goes to show, when you come up with that niche creative type of idea and you get a new demographic out, and the response was of so many people that have never been here before that came out for the first time. And if we can get 10% of them to come back and enjoy the trots, we're better off as an industry. The winner of the Dashhound races was from Wollongong. We had people here from Wangaratta. We had people here from Ballarat, and Sydney and Canberra. So they come from far and wide. So it was overwhelming to be honest. But I had a great team behind me. We showcased it. Everything went extremely smooth, and I'm tickled to this day, and they're still talking about it in the city of Wagga.
Oh, I'm sure they are. As I said, they are very, very loyal. I think I know about a dozen harness people here in Central Victoria that know about them and knew about what you were doing. You and I, we talk about it quite a lot, though. People need to think differently about promoting our industry and doing it in a different light. I'm strong on it. I think we need to think outside the square of, we've got a good card, which you guys have got on Saturday night. You've got to think outside, we've got a good card, the people will come. You've still got to be able to provide a reason for people to get there nowadays, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And the primary focus is for that on-track entertainment in between races. The number one complaint is from families and punters is, that gap in between races. And you're never going to get away from it because it's due to your Sky time slots to maximize wagering turnover. And that's the number one driver in the industry. We all know that. So clubs need to take it upon themselves to say, hey, okay, how do we keep people entertained on course? So that's where, based on if you're a day meeting or a night meeting, you got to look at yourself and your club and say, what kind of demographic can we attract? We're primarily a Friday afternoon race meeting. So we're looking at the older demographic, knowing that families and children are not going to be here. Parents are working, children are in school. So that's the approach that we take. Night meetings are a little bit different, where you can be a little more creative. But on signature nights is the opportunity to think outside the square and try something new. I think the biggest thing that I would stress is don't be scared to try something new, because even if 1 out of every 5 idea hits, you're onto something, and just keep pushing forward.
Yep, totally agree. And a lot of the things I do, I don't know why I do them sometimes, and some of those ones work and some don't, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing the right thing by the industry and promoting it. You say about day meetings and all the rest, you must be tickled pink about getting a terrific slot like a Saturday night over the Easter Carnival. It's a really good time slot for Wagga and for you guys on a long weekend, as I said, to get people into the industry. You must be one wrapped that New South Wales Harness Racing have allocated this time, and the weather and everything just slots in beautifully for what's going to be a cracking night.
Yeah, we're thrilled. And initially, Paul, the Cup, the Oaks, and the Derby were going to be in May. And we rescheduled them to April for our April Carnival for the simple reason it's a Saturday night with no Menangle. So all eyes are on us. So we really wanted to boost up that undercard and felt that, there was going to be far more impact of shifting those 3 races to Easter Saturday. So that's going to really, really, in my opinion, add to the content and add to the overall buzz. Obviously, we have the Group 1 championships, which is phenomenal, and the consolation. The Wagga Cup is absolutely spectacular. We got the Victoria Cup winner coming in Max Delight, and some phenomenal horses in good form. Another Victoria horse. Hi, my name is Jeff. We were going to have Majestic Cruiser come here, but he got invited to New Zealand
for the race.
So I don't know why anybody would go to a $900,000 race over the 30,000 Wagga Cup, but I know I'm just being smart. But and then we got a nice mixture of Bathurst horses. So for a punter's perspective as well, you got Victoria horses coming, you have Bathurst, and you have Sydney horses. So I think it's a punter's dream to try and study that form.
I've got the Wagga Cup up at background. The other part of that you've got Nathan Jack, Chris Elford, you've got Jack Kellyanne, Cameron Hart, Fitzpatrick, James Rattray. You've got just a great spread of competitive A-grade drivers going all the way to Wagga.
Yeah, and I got a little trick up my sleeve on Saturday night. I'm not going to say it here, but I got a little trick of how we're going to showcase our drivers. So you'll have to tune in, Paul. So we're gonna showcase them, and because when you have those type of drivers, the spotlight's on them, and again, as you mentioned, the Chris Alfords and the Nathan Jacks and the Cameron Harts and the list goes on. Jack Trainers here, Jack Halligan, an absolutely outstanding young driver. It's phenomenal to showcase these drivers on the biggest stage.
It is indeed. Race 6, the race before, is the I'm going with Millbrae Quarries. Are they local quarry, I gather?
Yes, they are, and they've been a loyal sponsor of ours for the last few years, and they're absolutely phenomenal. To
reward them with the Group 1 final is a great fillet for sponsors, because we've always got to look after sponsors. But a really, really interesting race. This is assembled, I suppose, and you'd be pretty excited about these horses as well, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a horse there I love, JOK. I've got a real soft spot for you. For it. Yeah.
I will say one thing. JOK was absolutely phenomenal. But I got to really hand it to Ideal Dan as well. Obviously, he benefits from the barrier draw. Earplugs were still in, and he was sensational. So I do think all eyes are on JOK. But Ideal Dan, based on his form and from what I seen last week, I think they're going to make a race of it.
Absolutely. Race 5. We're going backwards for a reason, because I suppose we'll go from the Cup backwards. But great to have the mares. Well done to New South Wales Harness Racing for a Group 1 race for the mares. Got a terrific field of mares assembled. But I think it's one of those things, and I know with a couple of hats that I wear, but my other hat, Nutrient, they're big on looking after mares to be able to grow their selling product, if you like. And I think if all states can embrace this, to have a Group 1 mares race at a regional racetrack, I think that's huge too. I really do like that.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point. One of my findings when I first arrived was that there's not enough races dedicated for mares. So I certainly agree with that statement. And just looking here at the Ladex, Ladex is a sponsor for the mares, and Antonia. Obviously, all eyes are on her. Nathan Jack drove her last week, and obviously, picture perfect, and Jack Trainer's back aboard the regular pilot. But you know what? I do think the race goes through her. But at the same time, she draws the back roll based on the rated system. And you got $100,000 on the line, Paul. So I don't think they're gonna hand it to her.
No, definitely not. Antonia last year, she's a horse that pops up at the right time for everyone. There was quite a few connections had relations to hers going through the sales, and she started winning at the right time. And yeah, she'll do the job again for David Thorne and the crew. There's no worries there. She's a beautiful mare. And then great field for Ben Stud. I actually got one of their hats here somewhere. Ben Stud, Wagga Oaks. It's one good that Ben Stud come on board, because they're a little bit way away from you both directions. It's about 3 and a bit hours from Shepparton, and probably the same from where he lives. I forget the name of the place. I keep getting it wrong, but it's good that they're sponsoring you and getting involved.
Yeah. Craig Judd and the Benstead family have been absolutely terrific coming on board this year as a sponsor. And when we first had discussions, it was a very quick and easy one. They're very quick to hop on board, and we certainly appreciate their support. And they wanted to have the Oaks to support the Phillies, and good on them for that. So you switch your hats. There you go. I think it's spectacular that we're getting a nice mixture of those 3-year-old fillies as well, because at some point we know that they're all going to go off to the breeding shed.
Yeah, definitely, and I have a great association with the likes of. Actually, didn't move that page. I'm very sorry. There's the Oaksfield there. The guys with Just Hope as well, Loris and Bloodstock and the likes as well. So really, really good. It is a good field, mate. But at the end of the day, it's about racing. You and I, the card will sell itself, but it's just about people going there and enjoying the experience. The layout you guys have at Wagga is sensational. It's new, it's fresh, plenty. The one thing I love at racetracks, plenty of green grass. People to go and get themselves a nice quiet ale, sit down on the grass, enjoy the festivities, be able to see the horses. They can walk over, see the horses parade. They're up above them. It's just got a great setting and great feel to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And the one thing that I'm kind of looking forward to is to seeing what kind of times they run on Saturday. Our track is, in my opinion, a very extremely fast oval. So I'd be very curious to see what kind of times they've run. There's a few people on social media already kind of talking about if that track record is in jeopardy. It all depends on the first 2 quarters, in my opinion, if it's going to be broke or not. But the talent is there to do it. The current track record, I believe, is 50-2 or 50-3. But you got Max Delight and Hi, My Name is Jeff, and it's very deep in talent. But again, you talked about just the complex that we have here. It sells itself. The race meeting with the product sells itself, and we're just overall, and speaking in general, can't wait to celebrate a night of championship racing here in the Riverina.
It was very clever. I'm not sure who did it, but they put up basically RIP, the horse's name and the track record. And I was like, what are they talking about? And you go and just saw the noms and you're like, okay. And that was before the field was drawn. That was just the noms when the noms came out, wasn't it?
We had such a demand. It was actually quite overwhelming. We knew that we were going to get a lot of Sydney-based horses based on the rated system, but we had so many noms. And actually, here's the cup. I should maybe put it right there, a little photo op. We had so many noms that we wanted to come up with a consolation as well. So we have a Wagga Cup, and then we also have a Wagga Cup consolation because we just didn't want to turn those quality horses away, and we also wanted to showcase them on Saturday as well.
No, absolutely, mate. I'm sure you've got a few ideas. I can't believe you're not telling me that other one. I was going to be there live streaming it, but just a few commitments and probably a little bit of late notice. It made it a little bit tricky for me to be able to get there, and I was a bit upset that I'm not going to be there, but I'm sure you're going to have a great day. The one thing you guys do, and I really congratulate you for it, you have a couple of the locals give their tips, people that know the racing, know the local horses and that. I would imagine that there's going to be that same preview will be put out prior to the meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. Grant Coelho last week stepped in and did a lot of pre-race interviews and did an absolutely sensational job. It's so important to get this type of quality information to punters. I can't stress that enough. And he's going to be back with us again on Saturday. So if there's one thing, if you can't be on site, Sky Active is with us, of course, but also tune into our social media and don't click off of it because there's going to be consistent up-to-date information regarding tips and punting throughout the night from Grant. And you're going to hear from the likes of Nathan Jack and Cameron Hart and Jason Grimson, and the list goes on. So if you're a punter, if you're a fan, I can't stress enough, tune into our socials on the weekend as well.
No, definitely, and there'll be plenty going on. Thanks, mate. Look forward to it. Now I've got to sit there and see how you are going to announce these drivers. I'm sure it'll be classy, and I'm sure it'll have a little bit of flair about it as well.
Yep, you got it, mate. You'll have to. Unfortunately, you'll next year you won't book off.
Hopefully I won't. But I think well done to you guys. Well done to everyone involved. It's going to be a ripping night. What do you got? 2 Group 1s. You got a Group 3 Cup that's got Group 1 quality horses. Max Delight won the Victoria Cup earlier this year. So Am I right? Or late last year anyway, but he is still the reigning Victorian Cup winner. So he's going round into Group 3. Like, it's just a cracking night of racing, mate. So congratulations and well done, and thanks very much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.